Hey, and welcome to FUMBBL podcast number 5 called We Turn Pro. PC, Morehouse and myself discuss the pro skill, the undead race, bar brawls and the usual quiz. There's also a special competition at the end for the listeners. If you like what we do, you can find me on Patreon, support me that way, or you can click on the donate button. Enjoy. Hey, welcome to another FUMBBL podcast, number 5. I have Morehouse and PC with me. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Good evening, everyone.
Good. We've got a packed podcast for you today. We are going to cover various things, but we're going to start with what we've been doing in the world of Blood Bowl. What have you been up to, boys? Anything?
I have been playing in a few little tournaments. Some of the North American coaches started an instant smack night on Thursday nights, so we have kind of a scheduled time for people to show up. So if there's anybody, or I guess Europeans with insomnia, but it's about 7 Central U.S. time, so that would be like 2 or 3 in the morning over there for you guys. But yeah, we've been starting to organize and do a little 8-person tournament if we can, and if the interest builds and we can get more than one, we could do, if 16 people show up, we could do 2 tournaments or whatever. So we've been doing those, and that's been a good time.
It sounds good because North American time zone is pretty dead, isn't it, usually?
Yeah, a little bit. There's always a few people on there, but, you get the problem where you got 2 or 3 people that want to play box and 2 or 3 people that want to play a ranked game, and sometimes nobody gets matched up, and you got, 6 people just sitting there doing nothing. So we're trying to kind of organize that and say, how about we all just get together and play a tournament? So
yeah, fair enough.
These tournaments, they're cross-division. They're B and A R teams, are they?
Yeah.
Yes. Anything in the competitive divisions can play. Technically, they are open team value, but a lot of times we'll do kind of a negotiation once we get the 8 coaches there, and and say, hey, we've got 3 people here with rookie teams. Let's agree to not bring our 2,500 chaos or stuff like that. But so technically, all teams are welcome, but we try to encourage people to find a range of what team they're going to bring, so it's fair for everybody.
I used to love instant smacks when they happened, a long time ago, years back now, and I have several on my record, but none of the new style smacks, which are completely open. Of course, the old ones used to happen in brackets. You know me, I love to have one of everything on my profile page, so I shall certainly be dropping a team in at some point. They sound a lot of fun.
Yeah, good stuff. Have you been up to anything, PC?
Well, I mean, I try and wander around playing all sorts of Blood Bowl nowadays, from real life to online to all sorts. And including in the all sorts, I've been playing in the NAF Europen, which is our online version of the NAF tournament structure format. So it's resurrection teams, 1,100 you get to spend on your original team, and about 6 skills that sort of, some of them kick in over time, some of them start originally. It depends on which NAF tournament you're in. This one's actually a team one, so I'm in it with you, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Me,
yes.
And another colleague of ours, a guy called Malmir, and we're playing as York 19 versus Wifetime, the Purple Underground remix. There's reasons for that name. There is another name we plan to be using eventually, but at the time that we're going to press, we didn't have the rights for that. I can now reveal, not only are we sitting proudly after 2 weeks atop the leaderboard, with all 3 of us, Malmir, Throek, and Purple Chest, 2 wins out of 2, and the only squad of 3 with that, immaculate 12-point record. But buoyed by that success, something we've been working on in the background is that we're preparing, hopefully in January, to go up to the UK Team Challenge 5 as Team FUMBBL.
Yeah.
So that'll be me, Throek, Malmir, and at the moment we're hoping also joining us will be Mr. Joshua.
Yeah, that should be good fun.
Should be fun.
Yeah, I've joined a league. I've joined the Nottingham League at Warhammer World, so I've got my first game on Wednesday. So that should be quite interesting, playing in Bugman's Bar. So quite looking forward to that.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll be quite exciting. I've also been playing Little BB2 on the Championship ladder. Now, reading the rules on that was really funny because there's a disclaimer on it that says if you concede 5 times, then you get banned. And I thought, no, surely not. So I had to test it. And yeah, you do. I got a very nice email from the admin saying, "You've broken the rules. You can't play anymore."
No, I've been playing a little bit on there the last couple of months. I picked that up as a legendary edition, very very cheap on Steam.
Yeah, same here.
I have to say that I recently, it so happened in the first month I was only there for a couple of weeks and I messed around and conceded a few games. In the second month, I accidentally, while just sort of casually having fun, ended up qualifying for their monthly playoffs with a dwarf team, of course. And as I was doing so, someone pointed out to me there's actually an off-game site that goes under the name Goblin Spy, but it's listed on mordrek.com/Goblin Spy. And they take all the stats out of the game and list all the same numbers from that Cablevision official league. And several of the other ones too, but that's the one I've been looking at, and put them into a much more interactive format where you can check exact points, who's qualified, who hasn't, etc., etc. And one of the things you can do there is check how many concessions you've done and how many concessions there has been against you. So yeah, and they track them, and there's a whole line for it there between 1 and 5, and once it goes over 5, the color changes, and an email is sent.
Yeah,
so there is on BB2. There is some. It's certainly in that league, some levels at which concessions are not welcome, which is nice to see.
It is nice to see actually, and that's kind of why I wanted to test it. But kind of backfired. But never mind. I can
tried to bluff them, and they weren't bluffing, huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, let's move on quickly to our team focus, our race focus for this week. Undead. So the makeup of Undead, you've got a couple of mummies, strength 5, you've got a couple of wights, you take ghouls, you've got zombies and skeletons to choose from. So either of you play them much?
I just kind of clicked on my own stats here to kind of get an exact figure. Looks like I've played something like 90 games of Undead, 80 games of Undead. I like the roster. I think I really recommend it to newer players as one that kind of has a little bit of everything, and a little bit of bash, a little bit of agility. I think if you're new to the game, you can learn a lot with Undead. They're a little bit forgiving at low team value too, which helps, especially with regeneration. So a real strong team at low team value, and a good team for people who are just starting the game, I think.
Yeah, definitely. PC?
Look, a lot of this is very theoretical for me because I'm slightly broken. It turns out our mums were right. And as a child at school, I played a lot of advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and the majority of the time I role-played as a paladin. And even to this day, I struggle to wield undead and feel good about myself. In total, of my 5,000 games on FUMBBL, I have played a grand total of 14 of them as undead.
Wow, and you've played a lot of games, so that's actually
I have played a lot of games.
Minimal.
Khemri is something similar. Necromantic, I think I've played about 40. Khemri, just checking, in fact. No, Necromantic, I've played 18. Vampire, I played 40 recently through the Black Box Trophy. And Khemri, yeah, I've played about 40 games with Khemri. So I don't want to pick up the dead ones. That's just a thing for me, and hence I don't. So I've faced them a lot, and I know all about them, and who doesn't? They're awesome at just about every team value, until you maybe hit about 2,000 when perhaps they get a bit outpowered unless they've got a lot of stat pluses. The mummies are brilliant, can destroy everything. The wights are versatile and can really do the damage that you need blitzers to do, but also hold the line and do some fighting. The ghouls, I'm very torn. When I see a team bringing lots of ghouls against me, I usually think, great, there's some easy casualties.
Yeah.
But then they run around and do all sorts of stuff. And you see a lot of stat-up ghouls because they score so easily.
And it's the only player in the game, isn't it, that doesn't have... You can't use a Napo and it doesn't get regen.
Yeah.
So they are quite vulnerable.
Yeah, they are. I think because they score so fast, though, that's mitigated a little bit, and they're relatively cheap. So, easy come, easy go. You can lose one, and you can build a new one pretty quickly. I like them with Undead. I like high team value a little more. I think how much you like to use the ghouls depends on what team value you want to play at, really. If you want to stay lower and play lower team value, you're not going to hire 4 ghouls. If you want to have a bigger Undead team, you're going to want to use all the ghouls. I think there's an argument either way for using more of them or not. I will say that I think despite the no regen and no apo, having dodge and having quick access to block, especially a low team value, will help you a lot to survive. You know, it's hard you can't kill someone if you can't take them down in the first place, right?
People always sold humans as the most versatile team, and I understand why. They are very versatile. But Undead are they're the Swiss Army team. They have a specialist for just about every tool. Everything you need to be doing on a Blood Bowl pitch, they've got something good to do it. The zombies are cheap enough to foul with and to be knocked over and get back up, and they're reasonably good at staying. The whites can move around and can blitz, and if they can get some strength skills, can really hit things to pieces. The mummies dominate lines. The ghouls are quick and dodgy, but nothing's that brilliant at what it does. So there's always those little chinks in the armor, of course.
It's the reliance as well on the mummies. Sometimes that can go wrong. You think, hey, I've got a strength 5 mummy here, but the amount of times I've rolled it without block and I've rolled double skull, double both down, or that can really screw your drive if you're not careful.
Well, if both your mummies don't have block, of course, just doing silly maths rather than actual maths. You're looking at a fail it's 1 in 9. So if you're hitting with both mummies, one fail a half from each, so you're looking at
3 turns.
Two fails a half, which means probably at some point in your first 2 to 3 turns, one of those fails is likely to come.
Yeah, they're obviously, one double on a mummy is a huge boost. They're one of those positionals that if they can get one decent, double roll to get block, if they start going real crazy and getting plus movement is really good for them. A couple doubles, block and dodge or block and tackle is really nice.
I've seen dodge sidestep mummies that just I had nightmares about blodge sidestepping mummies. They're also against things like that, but of course that's 3 doubles.
Sure. I remember Sin was a real good undead coach way back, maybe 10 years ago now. And he always sidestep on his mummies to kind of keep them positioned where he wanted them, because they're always going to get hit because people want to hit them. And if you can, a slow guy like that especially, if you can sidestep them into a convenient position to counter hit next turn, that can be really helpful.
Yeah, it means if you don't go down, you're dangerous. And it means if you do go down, you can choose where you get back up. And as you say, with that move 3, to not have to go for it to get back in position, but just automatically be there, can be really, really handy. But of course, you are forgoing dodge. You are making yourself an easier target.
Yep. And, generally I don't like sidestep on guys that get stand firm on a normal roll, because I find them to be pretty similar. But I think you can make a case that a mummy might be one that sidestep would be significantly better than stand firm, maybe. I don't know.
No, I don't know either. Just picking up on something you said earlier, Morehouse, about they make a good beginners team. I think they do. I think I've seen a lot of newer coaches playing Undead because I do think they excel at low TV.
Yeah, for sure. Just the regen is forgiving. The cheap lineman is forgiving because you can get a full roster and rerolls. You've got a couple guys. They're the only guys in the game that start with Strength 5 and Mighty Blow without Loner. So, they're like big guys, but better. The mummies are. Like we said, the ghouls are real good ball carriers at low team value, especially. And honestly, I think Undead, they're not you mentioned that you think they're pretty good up to about 2,000. I agree with that. Once you get real high, they don't really have enough tackle to take down elves. They don't really have the consistent hitting power of like a chaos team at that team value. They struggle a little bit.
Your mummies may still dominate a part of the line, but there's going to be enough strength and enough guard around that somewhere else you're probably not strong enough as Undead once you're much higher than that.
Yeah, and then you do not like Claw at all, obviously, right? Because if you can take a mummy out easily, that is a huge problem for an Undead team usually.
Yeah, it really is.
What we're going to do now is move on to Barb rules, because I think we've covered Undead pretty significantly there. So last week we talked about Royal Rookie Rumbles, and we said that we bring in Barb rules. So I know, Morehouse, you've played a few. I'm pretty sure you've played a few PC. I have.
I have, yeah.
What do you like about them? It's neat for people who don't mind scheduling. I know some people don't like being in scheduled tournaments because, especially if you're cross time zone, a lot of my North American colleagues always have the problem of the majority of FUMBBL being European, right? So then your people are trying to play when it's 2 a.m. for us, or vice versa. But they're kind of neat. They have set team value limits, unlike the Smacks, which is kind of a similar tournament. So if you want to play a more, I guess, fair, if you want to use that term, as fair as Blood Bowl can ever be, the games are a little more even in team value because they have 3 different weight classes. So that's nice for people. And it's a tournament that you get a little win on your profile page if you win one. So that's kind of neat. You get bragging rights. And we talked about SR last week. They contribute to your SR points also. So that's kind of a fun thing.
Yeah, I mean, all of the above. I mean, I like the fact nowadays we only have really the bar brawls, other than a rookie rumble, until you're up at the sort of level where you think you want to drop a team into a major. There's really only the bar brawls that have a cap on them, where you might be, say a 13-50 team, but you actually just want some random pairings and see how competitive you are against something you haven't chosen to play. And at the end of it, have a little, mark on your profile page, and that's the niche the bar brawls sit really nicely into.
Yeah, do you think we missed the minors then?
I don't know.
That's a tough one.
But they, I remember when I was running them, you had to work them very, very hard to get the applications up, and we could usually get maybe 60 or 70 people in for the minors, and do a couple of draws of 32 teams. I don't know if the market's there for that. Big seems to be the brand new shiny team everyone wants is 2,000 plus at the moment. So I don't know.
I don't know. I think we could get some people to show up for a minor. I don't think it would be too hard. I don't think we haven't done minors since we've combined the tournaments, have we? There hasn't been a ranked in box combined minor. Okay. Yeah, I think it would be interesting. I'm more of a high team value player anyway, so those things for me are kind of secondary if I'm looking for something to play. But I don't know. I think a lot of people would like them. I know a lot of people prefer to play close team value match games to random. In a major, you could be up or down 500 team value very easily, regardless of what you bring. So
I always favored formats where we started at roughly similar TWs. I always liked that. But your mileage may vary. Now, talking of the high ones, in the brawls, it's been my sense, and you probably played more of the high ones than me. I think I've played a mid and a low. At least those are the ones I've won. I think I may have dropped into a couple of others. In the high bracket for the bar brawls, are they quite the cesspit that they sometimes seem to be? Every time I see one on the games page, you see 2 very, very dangerous looking teams.
Yeah, that's kind of funny you bring that up. I think, an MRT 1212 is the guy who runs these. So if anyone's interested in bouncing anything off him, he's a real open, friendly guy. So if you have ideas or suggestions, you can certainly come to him. I think 1800 plus is maybe not quite a high enough threshold for the high. If you enter an 1850 whatever human team, and you draw, now we have so many huge teams, and you draw 2600 Nurgle, you're not going to be feeling very good about your chances, probably. I think the one thing we try to do with the Smacks, because it's a similar thing, is, like I said, there's a little bit of the peer pressure factor there, where when we all kind of talk about what we're going to bring. And so, if someone says, oh, I'm going to bring my 9 Claw Mighty Blow Nurgle, we all say, oh, come on, man. Let's,
let's try and get 8 teams roughly within, some sort of competitive range.
Right. Whereas the bar brawls, it's closed applications, right? So you can shamelessly enter anything you feel like, right? And if you want to enter your chaos with Claw Mighty Blow on every player, there's nothing stopping you. But yeah, I mean, I guess also that's high team value Blood Bowl in a way too, right? You could enter a major, you could draw that same chaos team. So
absolutely. It'd be sharks, but on the other hand, that's where elves tend to thrive.
Yes, exactly. And I think one thing that I think has been good the last couple of years is the piling on being removed and spiraling expenses being removed. makes the high team value game more competitive for a few more races. It used to be so much chaos and Nurgle. It felt like every high team value tournament was chaos and Nurgle. And now you're seeing a few more races. There's a lot of big lizard teams now, a lot of big elf teams. So I think it's a little more diverse than it used to be.
Right.
But I think you can make the same case for low team value too. That there are a few races that are really, really good, and you see in Rookie Royal Rumbles a lot. It's just different races than the ones you see in the high team value stuff.
Sure.
I wanted to move on to something that PC was mentioning earlier to me in a bit of chat outside the podcast, and that is the skill pro.
Oof.
Now, I think we can have a decent conversation about whether to take pro or not, and we've kind of covered vamps in one of the other podcasts. I'm sure it'll come up in conversation again. But pro, what do you take pro on?
I like it on vampires, just because of they have so many different little rolls that they need to make in a turn that quite often one team reroll is just not enough for a vampire team. I think, there's always, ever since big guys stopped getting general rolls on regular rolls and, the loner or the big guy trait as it used to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that think, you take pro on a big guy because they have loner. They don't waste a team reroll then at least if they fail. I was actually talking to somebody the other day who was suggesting pro as your first double on a goblin troll. And he was saying, although block is great, because goblins or maybe even halflings tend to use their big guys for so much different stuff that maybe you would want to be able to have a more reliable reroll with them. So I think you could make a case for that. I think also on blitzers sometimes, I think you can make a case for it on war dancers, even though there are a lot of other skills you want on a war dancer too. So this would have to be, 5 or 6 skills in. But, quite often with a war dancer, you fail that leap and use the team reroll. And then you roll pushes on the blitz. It would be nice to have another reroll. But really any player that's going to be involved in turns that are very dicey, that you're going to need more than one reroll, I think you could make a case that pro is a decent skill. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, what made me sort of think about this in the first place is there's a chap on the forums, Phoenix 13, spelt with an O and 0 instead of an O because he's cool.
Right.
And he's asking what he should do with a league orc blitzer, which has block, mighty blow, tackle, and because it's league and that's still allowed in some of the leagues, piling on. And he's rolled a new skill and he doesn't know what to take on it. And obviously that's the big killing hitty man on his team. The poll he's put up was between Frenzy and Guard. But pretty quickly, people start suggesting both Juggernaut and Pro. Now, Juggernaut I can really understand. Frenzy I can understand. And you can never have too much Guard. I once had 10 Guards, and I so missed having it on the 11th.
Sure.
So it was Orcs, actually, not even Dwarves. Just lots of people came piling in. First of all, it was suggested by 71, and then Shusnik came in and said that he thought Pro was better than Strip Ball and Frenzy and Guard, and then probably even Juggernaut as well. And then we had a big long rant from Catalyst about it, saying that Pro can be used, on a go for it. It can be used on picking up the ball. It can be used on catching the ball, throwing the ball, dodging away, and you can use it on hits. It's half a team reroll, and not only is it half a team reroll, but it's half a team reroll on top of your reroll, meaning it's another half a team reroll every turn for free if that's what you want. And when you put it like that, pro sounds great, and particularly on big guys. If you use your big guy as a central part of your team, there's a real logic into taking it on your first double because, it is rerolls. A pro on a big guy is almost as good an odds as a reroll. So there's a decent chance of it really helping. And yet, while all of that sounds true, I just never pick pro.
Right.
I always find something else to take instead, except sometimes on vampires.
Yeah, I'm the same. I always find something else to take. And I always go, pro. No.
Yeah, there are so many skills in the game like that I always think, I wish I had more grab, or I wish I had more fend, but I don't ever take that. There's always something I wish I had a little bit more. I think pro is one that probably lost a little bit back, 10 years ago when they changed it from 7 skills as a completed player to 6. A legend used to be a 7 skill player, and I think maybe you could have back then made a little bit more of a case to stick pro in there somewhere. Now it's tough because most players have 6 other skills that they want, probably more than pro, and then and then players that get to Legend 6 skills generally have doubles or stats or something else. So then you're talking, maybe only 2 or 3 normal rolls on the player, and is one of them really going to be pro? I think the problem with looking at it like it's a free reroll is that's only on your turn, whereas a lot of other skills function on your turn and the opponent's turn. Mm-hmm. Although you can catch the ball with pro on the opponent's turn if it scatters
so it does.
you. So,
yeah, I was
that
thinking that actually.
Yeah, but if you're blocking or getting blocked, block helps. If you're dodging or getting blocked, dodge helps. If you're blocking or dodging, someone's dodging away from you, tackle helps. Whereas pro is not very useful. I found this actually on my vampires. I took pro first every skill, which was wonderful when it was my turn, but when it was the opponent's turn, we were really getting bashed around a lot because we didn't have any block or dodge. So I think that's one problem with it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I do think. I mean, we've thrashed through the vampire argument with it before. I do think there's a good argument for some pro around on vampires, just because moving them is so risky.
Yeah.
But that's my problem with pro is it doesn't really solve risk. You feel like it might, but I once had just a hitter on the line back when there weren't many strength skills, so things like grab wasn't around for dwarves, and you ran out of options pretty quickly. And so I had some pro hitters. And the number of times I'd re-roll a block because it was just a push, and I thought, I'd prefer a POW, and it's for pros, who cares? Yeah, I'm not using a re-roll on it, but I will use pro. And, of course, that always seemed to come up skulls. I mean, about one time in 2.
Sure.
And it's and the times you really want to rely on it, you end up pulling a re-roll anyway because you want it to happen. You don't want it to maybe happen. So,
right.
I think it is an awesome skill, and I understand why it has some real backers, but I just never take it.
No, I don't think I've got many players at all with pro.
I don't think I want to trust anything to be 50%. I mean, my back's against the wall. I'll roll 2 D6s hoping for 2 6s and see if it works. But that's never my plan. And I don't think my plan is to use a 50% skill.
I mean, is it because you have to kind of counter it into risk management in a sense? I don't.
Yeah. Yep. It is, and like PC's saying too, things that are going to cause a turnover, you don't want to be pro re-rolling them because it's a low chance of success because it's at best, it's at best under 50%, right? Because it's 50% to even get the pro. I guess I think
50% chance at another go at that roll,
right? Of another go, right? So 50, yeah, sure. So 50% chance to then hit your 2+ or 3+ or whatever it is. I think for players that have rolls that are non-turnover fails, like vampires, right? Failing a bloodlust is not necessarily a turnover. Failing a hypnotic gaze is not a turnover. Pro is great for that. Big guys, using pro on really stupid or bonehead is nice because it's not a huge risk if you fail.
Yep.
And then I think you can make a case on hitters. Although there's I guess 1 in 36, 1 in 72, right? That pro is going to succeed, and then you're going to roll double skulls. But
it isn't. It's about 1 in 3. I swear it is.
It's just not 1 in 72 in your experience. But yeah, I mean, you can make a case for that, especially like I said, a sacker, like a war dancer, where you might have dodge, go for it, hit. You might need the team roll on the dodge or something like that. And then if you get pushes on the hit on the ball, it would be nice to have another go at it. So I think
actually, I just did it again. You was just saying, vampires, and I was nodding and smiling, and I've taken it on vampires, and you said big guys, and I went, yep. There is that logic that if you want to re-roll it on big guys, if the big guy is central to what you do, then pro is as good as a re-roll, and it's much cheaper. Get yourself a pro as your first double on a big guy. And then I thought, I wonder if Morehouse has ever done that. So there's my question. Have you ever done it? Have you got pro on any of your big guys?
I don't think I have any big guys with doubles on any of my teams, actually. Well, I'll tell you. I'll look at the teams. Or, excuse me, I cut out there. I'll look at what I've got, and I'll tell you what I would take pro on. Okay, I take it first on vampires. So I have a bunch of those. I play wood elves. I would not take it on a tree, because I would rather the tree have block and just stand there and get in the way. The tree doesn't have to do a lot. I would not take it on an orc troll for the same reason that the orc troll just stands in the way and doesn't have to do a lot. I think I could be convinced on a halfling Or, well, I guess halfling trees don't have loner, so maybe not. But on a goblin troll, I don't have any goblin trolls with doubles, but I think you could make a case that would be kind of nice to have pro rather than block. I don't know. You played a lot of goblins recently. Did you get any doubles on trolls?
If I get a double on a troll, it's block.
Okay, it's block for you.
Both defensively and offensively, that's what I want my trolls to be doing. If I got another, I think it would be dodge, because I also want them break tackling pretty quickly. I think that's more important than guard on a goblin.
Yeah, that's the path I take.
Yeah, so I mean...
I was just thinking maybe, could I justify pro on a Minotaur? Now,
I've seen pro on Minotaurs,
because they need doubles for mutations, don't they?
So it depends. Chaos Dwarf...
That would surely go to claw or block, but on a chaos Minotaur, if I'm running a Minotaur, I guess I'm blitzing with it a lot. So perhaps then pro would be good. Perhaps that's
possible.
The big guy.
Yeah.
And maybe a Croc too, because Crocs are lovely and fairly reliable, and perhaps stashing pro there might be useful.
Or maybe on the Yeti as well.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, maybe with Norse, I could see that. Although the Yeti's a little fragile with AV8, and same thing with the Minotaur. You know, it's nice to have block on an AV8
really
big guy.
Yeah,
you know, it's real easy to take them down, or to just. If you try to base somebody with a blockless big guy, so many people will just negative 2D block you off, and then you're just standing there doing nothing again.
I was watching a horrific Bar Brawl Chaos Dwarf team the other day with a Strength 6 bull, a Legend bull with Agility 3 and Move 7, and then a Minotaur with AV 9 as well as block.
Sure.
And that Minotaur was Strength 6 too. And you just think, really? How are you ever taking that on?
Right.
Scary stuff.
Even a chainsaw isn't going to cut it up to little Minotaur pieces like they normally do. So
right. I think maybe I don't know. You play Underworld, don't you, Throwek? On an Underworld troll, yeah. Would you think about pro?
Possibly. Probably is the last skill. I tend to. If it's a double block, because tentacles is a must, because I want to hold people near me and kill them. So block, claw, tentacles. If you get a doubles, obviously block. Guard, just to help the line rats out a little bit. But yeah, probably. Wow, I just got a legend with my Underworld troll, but I can't remember what I gave him. I don't think.
I think there's a really good argument that if you've got any player perhaps who you've got a skill up and you're looking at the skills for them and you think they've got everything I actually want them to do, and they're doing their job, then pro makes them do it better. But as you say, with skills on a player, that's very rare nowadays.
So my Underworld troll, claw, block, tentacles, stand firm, guard, and break tackle, because I want him to be a pain. I want him to be a roadblock.
I think probably all of those are more use than pro.
I think on a Underworld team, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Was that 5 or 6? Is he a legend now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if the last one was break tackle, you said?
Yeah, I was unsure, to be honest. I think pro came up in conversation because I think I started a forum about.
Did you roll? Was it a double then?
No,
so you could have taken.
No, actually.
Okay, so pro's a double, so that's a different but yeah, I don't know, a human. I don't play humans that much. A human ogre is pro.
Human ogre with block, I would definitely consider pro.
Yeah, I think that's
not blodge. Because again, if you're going to take break tackle, blodge has wonderful synergy with that. And, he's your big guy. They're going to try and hit him. They're going to try and claw him.
It is, but I always find...
just means they've got to use a tackler to do that.
I think with humans, though, because I do play a lot of humans, I very rarely blitz with my ogre. So I wouldn't really want... I don't tend to break tackle him up unless there's not a lot else to give him. I tend to use him as a wall and just trying to hit people.
Well, I mean,
because you've got 4 blitzers to do the blitzing.
Yes, that reliability issue. The fact is that, break tackle on a strength 5 means he can go anywhere. It creates fear in the opposition. You don't have to use it for it to change the dynamic on the field.
Certainly a threat. Right, okay. I think we've talked long enough about pro. We're going to finish this podcast with a couple of things. We've got our quiz, which we normally do. I think Morehouse is 2-1 up, if I'm correct. That's right, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, the 2 questions are... Question number 1. Are you ready? UK and US, same as always.
I'm ready.
Okay. Can you name me 3 skills that Zara the Slayer has?
Oh, UK.
PC.
She has Dauntless, Block,
and
Stab. I think it's called stakes nowadays.
Yeah, it is called
I think she
stakes,
also has jump up,
Yep.
dodge.
Yeah. One more.
Yes.
Well, it's
she?
stab. It's stab.
Does stab and stakes two separate skills technically?
Well, they're written down on FUMBBL as two separate skills. I think
Okay,
the stab
gotcha.
is the skill and the stakes is the...
Oh, I didn't realise. I
+1.
thought they were
Yeah.
slightly different things. I thought she had stakes, which was a hangover from when, because when they originally didn't they do even more against undead than against other things?
That's right.
I think they
still do. They still do.
but not by as much as they used to.
No.
Right.
If I remember correctly, I think they used to be even stronger against undead.
So
but I'm not
stab
sure
is
about
what everyone with a blade does, and stakes makes it slightly worse
Yeah.
against undead.
that.
Doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's like
correct.
having block and mighty blow or whatever.
Right,
It's
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Great. All right, okay,
Cool.
on to the next question. Well done, PC. You need this one to win and draw it level. Okay,
Ooh.
next question. Who won last year's FUMBBL Cup?
U.S.
Go on, Morehouse.
That would be my good buddy and fellow LOA member and American-born coach Relozite.
And which team?
That would be the Slim Chance Brigade. His
Correct.
Pro Elves.
Right, now we need a
Wow.
tie break.
Good knowledge.
Good.
Yeah, he's a buddy, I guess,
He's me.
sort of. So that was kind of an easy one for me.
Okay, right, tie break. Without checking
Okay.
how many total games were played yesterday.
I guess I can have the disadvantage of guessing first because I think I made you guess first
Yeah,
last
it's your
time.
turn.
So,
Okay.
Sure. So okay, how many games on FUMBBL were played yesterday?
Yeah, that's ranked, stunty, league, and black box.
Sure. 150.
Okay.
Oh God. I would. Yesterday was a Sunday, wasn't it? I think it's going to be a little more than that. So 151.
This is going to be every time we get a tie break. The answer is 246.
Yay!
Oh, wow.
Yay.
Go
so
FUMBBL.
PC
All right.
wins 2-all,
Well done.
2-all. Well done, boys. You don't get a prize, but one of our lucky listeners will get a prize because we're going to do our first ever FUMBBL podcast competition. That's exciting, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Yes.
I'm on tenterhooks.
So I have a little thrower that I've painted, a human thrower to give away because I'm Throwick. It kind of worked out. And what I would like you to do is think of a Blood Bowl based joke. Send it to myself on FUMBBL or Discord or Purple Chest or Morehouse. We're going to pick one each to come back and share next week, and then we'll pick a winner. And I promise I'll post it to whoever wins it, and that's absolutely fine.
So yes, send me some jokes. Don't send them to Throwek. If they're funny, send them to Purple Chest.
So, just to reiterate and recap, think of a Blood Bowl themed joke, get it to myself, Morehouse, or Purple Chest, either on FUMBBL or on Discord. Yeah, and let us know. Try and make us laugh, because then we're gonna read them out, or some of them, next week. And it is only one per coach. So Asterflix, one. Just one.
Pick the best one, Flixie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, make them funny, make them relevant, make them about Blood Bowl.
Yeah,
Anything
absolutely,
about Blood Bowl.
Absolutely. So that's brilliant. And just to say thank you, because, boys, we broke 1,000 listens, believe it or not.
Oh, fantastic.
We
Oh,
did.
wow.
So I was really impressed looking at the stats. I think we're about 1,040 now, which is fantastic. So thank you very much. Really
Wonderful.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. So
That's
thank you again
awesome.
for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
We'll speak soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.